Hey, Ben.
Hey, what?
Let's talk about that time that one dude stabbed that really big fat guy.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Bible is Metal.
Welcome back. It has been a lengthy absence, and we're really sorry.
Yeah.
There's just a new year, holidays, and there's been a lot of life things that have happened.
Yes.
So
yes.
But it's been a good period. You know, I definitely think it's been a good period. Just unfortunately not for the podcast.
Yeah. January was kind of a ride. You know, got back from the holidays, thought all was well, and then all of a sudden I lost my job.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, man. That sucks. I mean, we can laugh about it now.
We can laugh about it now.
You found a new one
pretty
much right away.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's pretty amazing.
Yes, that's a huge blessing.
Yeah.
But yeah, got laid off from my job and then found a new one, so that was nice and quick.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, that kind of took some time there.
God is good. But it also adds stress and going, crap, am I going to be able to to pay rent at the end of the month? And,
which today rent is due, and I do have the money for it, so that's exciting.
That's always an exciting thing. It is. Oh, yeah, today's the 1st, isn't it?
Today is the 1st.
Oh, I just kind of made the point of, like, just because my landlord's great, she'll let me Venmo her.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'll just, like, as soon as I get my second paycheck every month, I'll just Venmo her rent, even if it's, like, 8 days early.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah,
she doesn't seem to care.
Man, to pay my rent, it's such a process. Like, I have to do it either in like cashier's check or money order.
Serious?
Yeah, it's stupid.
Do people still know what those are?
Yeah, apparently. So,
like cereal? For cereal? Do they really?
Yeah. What's cool though is there's a Smith's right down the street, and they have a money order service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I walk in and I get my money orders worth of money, and then go right back to the office, which, you know, is not far.
Right.
And then, you know, just slap them down and say, hey, here's my money, fool.
Yeah.
You know?
That's stupid.
Yeah, it's kind of lame. I mean, there is an online portal that I could technically do, but it was complicated to set up, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Part of me feels like I just kind of need to get on board, but I also don't know how much longer I'm going to stay there anyway.
Yeah. No, we get that. I mean, me and Jay are kind of looking for a new place right now, because I like the CD basement.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie, it's pretty metal.
It
metal
is,
basement,
definitely.
But our rent is exorbitant for a 600 square foot 2-bedroom house. So
how much is your rent again?
$1,295.
$1,295. Yeah.
For this.
I mean, at least it's not an apartment.
That's the truth.
I'm technically paying more for an apartment.
Yeah, I thought your rent was only like $1,000.
No, it's so. This is another frustration with my apartment complex.
Oh, goody.
They give you the upfront cost and say, okay, this is how much it's going to cost, plus the pet rent that we have to pay for our 2 pets.
You're right. For your cat and Peanut.
Yeah. But then after that, you get this weird little utility thing in the mail that for us has been like an extra $100.
Oh, is that just like trash and sewer and water and
stuff?
Oh, okay.
all the stuff that I thought was in the cost of the rent.
Oh, no.
Already.
Oh, if we include utilities, I'm paying like $1,600 a month.
Okay.
So, like, that's like trash, water. We have to pay for gas, which is a lot because it's an old drafty house.
Yeah.
So we pay, like, I think our gas bill is like over $100 last year.
Yeah.
Or last month. I mean, to be fair, it was also the water heater, which... Listeners, by the way, I did replace my water heater.
Thank
it's
goodness.
It's no longer going to blow up on us.
Oh, I'm so relieved. I don't know how many times we're recording. I'm like, is that thing going to blow up?
Maybe today is the day.
Today is the day.
This is the day we meet Jesus because of a faulty water heater. Yay!
Oh boy.
That would recording a podcast about Jesus. That would be ironic.
Oh, that would be crazy.
It's like that's like some Elijah type stuff. Taken up in a whirlwind of fire.
Taken up in a basement of fire.
Oh man,
too good.
Cool. What has been happening in the metal world recently?
I don't even know, man.
It's been a dry spell.
It has. I've been off the grid a little bit too. Literally, when we went to Death Valley for New Year's,
nice.
Like, we had no cell service at all. In fact, like in the park, once you're in the park, they do have this like this ComNet 3G network, which is good enough to make phone calls, but horrible for loading anything data-wise.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have like thousands of songs downloaded just so when I lose service.
Yeah.
Because I fly a lot, so.
Yeah, now I know that if I'm going to a national park and, usually Wi-Fi or 4G isn't even available, I'm downloading stuff now.
Right.
Like that experience. I mean, it wasn't awful. I was able to get off the grid just fine, but you know, there were some anxieties, some moments where we got broken off from friends and couldn't communicate, and that was not great.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think this new age of having your cell phone on you at any given point is both good and bad.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of value to being able to just communicate with people whenever and wherever. Like, it's actually really nice.
Yeah. So in those times, definitely going to invest in some walkie-talkies or something.
Yeah.
Get the whole radio signal going instead.
Yeah.
I think that'll work out.
I used to use those for skiing back when I was a kid, but now all of them have cell towers and glamping and like skiing is rich people. It's fun now. I can't even afford it on an engineer's salary anyway.
Oh man, that's sad.
It sucks. Oh well. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the metal world, I have no clue what's going on.
I have no idea what's going on. Yeah. I mean, gosh, it's been Novelist released a new album.
Oh, okay.
I've been listening to that. They're kind of branching away from a little more stereotypical metal. I mean, I think it's actually kind of pushing back into like a rock alternative kind of vibe now, but it's good. It's really, really good. But I mean, that's pretty much all I know. There really hasn't been in much releases.
It was the holiday season,
Yeah.
New Year's. I don't think too many. I don't know. I've never known that season to be an up season for metal bands.
No, not at all.
Yeah. They're either on tour or they just got back from tour and they're taking the holidays off or whatever. So I'm not going to expect anyone to be releasing a new album in December or January.
No.
Yeah.
But there is the Killswitch concert in March.
That is what I'm looking forward to.
I'm very excited for. I still need to buy my tickets.
That's too.
Okay. I just filed my taxes because I was single for most of last year.
That's right.
So I filed married filing jointly, which is a 12% tax bracket at my income. And then there's the single is 22. So they've been withholding almost double what I need.
Yeah.
For almost a full year.
Yep.
So I'm getting a really hefty tax return back, and I'm really excited.
Nice. That's awesome.
So gonna pay off some debt. And
I have
stuff,
no clue what mine are going to be like. This year's been a really odd year, mostly because like working at a company full time, then I had stock options, so whatever that entails.
Oh gosh, yours is going to be confusing.
I got a 401k payout this year from my last company. So there's that, and now this year. Yeah. Anyway, so last year was a complicated year as far as some new things that I've never had to file for before. So I'll be talking to my tax lady and seeing what we need to do for all that. But I could get off really well, or I could end up owing a crap ton. I have no clue.
Yeah, you have no idea because I have to. Mine was super easy because it was just like me and Jay both had a W-2. Neither of us attended college last year. Neither of us worked more than one job. So we had one W-2 for each of us, and that was it. That was all we had to do. It was super easy.
Yeah,
so
that's the nice days.
I need to set up my 401k, but I figured now's the best time as ever because it's New Year, and I don't have to. Then now I can worry about the tax stuff about that next year.
Yeah,
don't have to touch it.
Yeah.
So
I'll be doing that soon. I think it just got my last form for the whole stock thing. Which, again,
nice.
I have no clue what that means, and I'm not a stock person.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was like a thing that was given to me, and I'm like, this is cool. I don't know what to do with this.
This is nice.
This is fine.
Yeah, it's like when you get like a desk toy or something like that. You're like, this is cool, but this has no value to me. I don't understand what this is for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
And it's for a company that just had a big layoff, so whatever that's worth.
And they're just trying to afford bonuses for the CEOs or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if Jolt was really that like that, but
no, I mean, it was a company restructure as far as I know, and no one's given me any concrete information about this, but what it seemed like was either they're not getting the funding they thought they were, or they were spending too much money and needed to free up some capital or whatever.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. yeah, I'm not too sure of the situation. We weren't told specifically why. We were just basically said, hey, we're so sorry, but
yeah,
we got to let you go, kind of thing. And I mean, I was let go with severance, which is super awesome. Like, honestly, that softened the blow by a ton, because that meant that I at least had another month of pay to cover,
to try to find another job.
Exactly.
Right.
And now getting a job so soon, I could actually consider that severance a bonus.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because then you still, like 2 weeks later, you probably got like your last paycheck from the last period, and
So if anyway it pays off,
kinda, yeah.
It's weird. I'm gonna miss the free food.
Yeah, that's actually significant.
The free food was my favorite perk working there.
It's so awesome. We get free soda, which is like a backhanded. It's because you're just like, here, have some fat.
Have some sugar you don't need.
Have some sugar you don't need.
Yeah.
You're already anxious at work. Here, get hopped up on caffeine and sugar. What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
I already have one of the most stressful jobs on the planet. Anyway.
Yeah.
I love my company. It's great.
But now you're doing research and development.
I'm doing R&D, which is nice, because then I don't have to, because I love my job. I really do like the work I do. It's very interesting. And I'm one of those people who needs to have something to do with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
So staying busy, being productive, and having a lot to do isn't necessarily a bad thing for me. It's actually really good, because it keeps me from getting bored. And I'd rather be stressed than bored.
Yeah.
But then I can deal with customers. I'm good at it. I have a customer face from working in retail all through college. But like, I don't enjoy it, and it often just makes me want to cry. So it depends. The good customers are great, but the bad customers really, really try my patience. So I have to make sure that I'm putting on a good face and actually like presenting well, but internally I'm not happy with it at all.
Dying inside.
Yeah. Anyway, well, it's been almost 12 minutes talking about our jobs.
Well, talking about random things.
Yeah,
it's been a while, so I'm sure anybody that cares would want to catch up. And
yeah, it's just like, where you guys been? And like, well, playing Skyrim in my underwear mostly, but like, we're gonna be straight up.
I've been playing The Witcher 3.
Oh yes, yes,
I'm loving it, dude.
It is such a good game. Jay beat it for the first time, and I was so happy, because it's my favorite. The Witcher 3 is my favorite game of all time.
Okay.
I love that game. It is so good. And then Jay started it, and then she didn't like it because she got turned off by the combat. Because the combat's really difficult on even just like the normal setting,
Yeah.
So I just told her, like, look, if you don't want to deal with it, if it's a deal breaker for you, just set it to story, because they don't do easy mode. They call it story mode, because they're not trying to alienate people. They're not Dark Souls. They are trying to be hard. They're just like, we wrote this big story and we want everyone to experience it. So if you don't want to deal with the combat, just play story mode, or everyone dies in one hit. And I'm like, okay, sounds convenient.
Really?
So she did that because she hates the combat. So,
Gotcha.
But she loves it. She thought it was great, because
That's
now
cool.
she's like, I can play the game and experience the story, and I don't have to deal with the fiddly combat where you're trying to beat a mini boss like 12 times and cursing at the TV. Not that she watched me try to do that multiple times.
I think I'm. So I have a habit in that game of getting into things that are at a higher level than what I'm at.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize until late in the game. Well, I'm not even that late in the game, but I didn't realize until later that every quest has a level recommendation to it. And so here I am, level 5, running into a level 16 quest, and I'm like,
no,
this was a bad idea.
Don't do that.
But I actually got rewarded for hopping into a level 12 one. And because I had a band of guys with me that were fighting with me, I totally just got to be a wiener and like hop off to the side while they're beating up the dudes. And their hits are way more powerful than mine. So they end up winning for me, and I get the reward. And I'm like, sweet. I'll take advantage of that.
I'll take advantage of that.
Yeah.
That's convenient. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was helpful.
That's good.
It was that quest where you're helping that blacksmith in the city. And
in Novigrad.
Yeah.
And he gives you a really awesome sword at the end of it.
Which wasn't even that awesome. It was
really?
It was okay.
It was good. I like the sword he gave me.
I mean, it's okay, but I have stronger swords.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was going to be this amazing sword, because the quest was like, I think level 15 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm going to get an amazing sword early game. No, it was like, I think...
Also, legit question, what are you doing in Novigrad at level 5?
Well, I think I'm level 8 now, but I don't know. I'm the kind of person that just likes to barrel through.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got
You're
to know.
Not a side quest person.
I mean, yeah, I try to do as many of the side quests as possible, and that's kind of what I'm doing in that area now. Is I want to get through as much of like the story, and then I want to go back and do the side quests.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I am.
Yeah.
I'm also taking on Breath of the Wild in Master Mode.
Oh yeah.
Which is
I need to restart that.
Which is a pain in the arse.
Because I beat it, and I don't know. I've been really enjoying. I got back into Skyrim, and I'm trying just for replayability's sake, because I usually end up just running around like with a bow and stealthing around and killing
and just
people,
shooting everybody.
Yep. But I'm trying to like branch out and I'm gonna do a mage playthrough, or I'm gonna do a playthrough with a dude where I have nothing but a giant hammer, and then I kill everything with my giant hammer. And that one's actually been a lot of fun because giant hammers do a great deal of damage.
Yeah.
And you can run up to somebody and you just like just
yeah. Especially if your two-handed skill is really high, like you can just destroy.
That's literally it. If you look at it, it's like smithing. I always level up smithing so I can build my own weapons, make them really nice. And then two-handed, and that's it.
Nice. Yeah, I like the stealth archery the best.
Yeah, everyone does. It's kind of a meme at this point, but I figured we'll try something different. I'm on my mage playthrough right now, and I'm actually really enjoying the mage playthrough.
I tried to do mage playthrough, and I just couldn't do it. I feel like the beginning of it is the hardest because you're trying to level up all your mage skills, but it takes so much longer to level those up for some reason. Like I don't know. I have a harder time with it.
I basically, technically I'm doing spell sword, so when I run out of magic, I have my sword, and then I can kill people with that instead. You go. So anyway, cool. So we're back. We're not disappeared.
Yep. We're alive.
We're alive. We're happy to be back.
Yep.
So there was just kind of a glimpse into our lives right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's been good. So
been good.
Cool. So let's dive in.
Let's dive in. So today's story is kind of a simple one. It's not long, but it's in the midst of a very interesting time in Israel's history. So we're in the Old Testament still, which I feel is where the meat of the Bible's metal content is, just because that's just the nature of the Old Testament.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's a pretty gruesome side of the Bible.
Is it?
Yeah, so today our story comes from the glorious Book of Judges.
Yes. And this will probably be the first of many stories from the Book of Judges. So do you want to kind of go explain what the judges were? Like the context of what judges, this time period in the
Yeah, okay. So if I were to summarize the Book of Judges in like one little blip, it would essentially be what happens to Israel if they don't obey God's command to remove the inhabitants of Canaan.
Yes.
Like that's the bottom line. If they had been successful in removing everybody, just like God said, and these people weren't around to tempt them to worship their gods and all that stuff, everything would be fine and dandy. But that's not what happened. They ended up not driving out everyone. They ended up not following the Lord's command in that, and that'll be another discussion later. But because of that, they fell prey to the temptations of the land, if I could put it that way.
Yeah.
All of the idol worship, the pleasures of the land, the pleasures of the pagan culture, and all that stuff, they just kind of fell into that because they didn't remove the inhabitants.
Time and time again.
Yes.
And we're going to do a couple episodes on the Canaanite Genocide.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing. It's a real thing. God using the Israelites to mass murder all of these people. But I know this is kind of a big ask, but right now we can't, because we don't have the time to really go into it, or this episode would literally be like 6 hours long.
Yeah.
Just kind of suspend your disbelief for a second and go, okay, let's assume before we go into that, let's assume that this is justified, that God's using the Israelites for violence on the Canaanites.
Yeah.
So
and this is essentially the proof of that. The Book of Judges is the reason why that needed to happen.
Yes.
The Book of Judges is essentially when they didn't obey him, this is what happened. And they essentially fell prey to all of the temptations of the land.
Yes.
They're now worshiping other gods. They're now sacrificing their children. They're now doing all this crazy stuff that God warned them about and said, look, if you don't drive them out, you're going to be tempted, you're going to fall into it, and I'm going to have to turn my back on you. Like, that was the deal.
Yeah.
And they didn't obey. They didn't listen. And some of them, it was just because they didn't have faith and they didn't fight well. Others, they just refused to, and they made treaties with them, which God specifically said, don't make treaties with them.
And this is one of them.
Yes.
So, if I remember correctly, Moab is one of the
I believe
treaties. Okay. So, I am going to push back on your verbiage of God's going to be like, well, I'm just going to have to turn your back on you a little bit.
That's fine.
Yeah, because the connotation is that God actively ditched him.
I'm not saying... Okay. That was probably bad wording on my part. I'm not saying God abandoned them.
No,
because of course God was still working in this time.
Right.
No,
I would say much...
Turn back my blessing from you.
Yeah, I mean, I would even go so far as to say the Israelites say, screw off, God. And he goes, okay.
Yeah.
Have fun. You know?
In a way.
See how you enjoy this for a minute.
Yeah. The phrase that categorized this point in time was that everybody did what was right in their own eyes.
Yes.
And usually that was evil.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back into my whole thing where like people suck.
People suck.
Yep.
So, when we're left to our own devices and we're left to our own decisions of what is moral, we do what is right in our own eyes, and sometimes the outcome of that isn't so great.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why the Old Testament seems so brutal is because back nowadays when you're like, oh, people left to their own devices will do things like insider trading and stealing candy from the gas station, and things like murder are especially abhorrent. We're talking a time period where it was societally acceptable to kill someone for something they owned. Like this is the Judges is kind of in a really weird spot in human history.
yes Or even just in general back in those days, it was a total free-for-all of who can inhabit everything, and here we are,
kind of like a giant societal game of PUBG. Stuff is out, you kill people for the best stuff. The people on the top call themselves king and call it good, like that's how it was.
It was literally a Game of Thrones. It
was literally Game of Thrones. That's just what it was like. So,
and today, like politically, it's still kind of that way, but like not near to the extent.
You don't see people in Senate stabbing each other when they disagree. So
exactly. Usually, it's I'm gonna ruin your life, and I'm gonna ruin your life. I'm not gonna take it from you. Kind of thing, because that wouldn't be socially acceptable.
Right.
Like we live in a
relatively non-violent era.
I would call it the post-Christian era. Basically, like the Western world for the most part has been Christianized due to the rise of Christianity, and because of that, a lot of the moral standards have leveled up in a way.
But now people look at it and they don't actually source Christianity as part of that.
Of course,
And also, to be fair, yes, the church had a lot of problems in like the late to Middle Ages. There are a lot of issues there. We're not going to go into that.
We're not excusing how the church has acted through the ages.
Yeah, what we do have to recognize is like there's a difference between the Christian faith and Jesus's fan club.
That's a good way of putting it.
There's a huge difference. So when you're dealing with issues you have with the church, make sure you actually separate. What does the Christian faith actually mean, and what are the people doing? So anyway, cool. So Judges. Sorry, I totally interrupted you.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so the book of Judges, everybody was doing everything that was right in their own eyes, and this was a time of like ups and downs, essentially. They would fall into temptation, they would worship the gods, they'd give God the middle finger, and so then they would start doing their thing, and then things would go bad. God would essentially have the inhabitants, either attack or control them or whatever. Then they would cry out. God would send them a judge, and that judge would be not a judge in the sense of like judicial judge in the sense of someone who was a leader. He was a kind of like he was the overall guiding force of Israel. If I could put it that way.
The best way I could probably describe it is like feudal lord, maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
Or tribal leader, or because he wasn't like an official king per se,
like a mini Moses.
Yeah. I mean, would you say Joshua would probably be the first judge, at least in nomenclature?
No,
his role was much like a judge would be, in my opinion.
The reason why I don't fit Joshua in that role is because Joshua received a direct succession from Moses, whereas the people after Joshua didn't.
Oh, okay.
They just kind of rose up on their own. Well, right. God raised them up despite the, passing on of the torch from Moses to Joshua and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I put Moses and Joshua more as the transitional phase leaders, the people that God specifically raised up to get the people of Israel from Egypt to the land, into the land, and now you have what are called judges, people that are essentially trying to keep order and trying to raise Israel to the occasion to continue to fulfill the requirement of them by the Lord, but continually failing to do so. And there's whole pockets of like 30, 40 years in every single one of these judges' life cycles that like it'll be a paragraph of, oh, this person was raised up as a judge. They fought, Israel had peace for 40 years. Then they did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. They fell. Another judge rose up. Another 30 years of peace.
Right.
That's the cycle of judges essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, one of the first notable judges that kind of did something a little metal, his name was Ehud.
Ehud.
Ehud. Ehud.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure how to pronounce his name, but Ehud. We're going to go with that.
Ehud.
Yes.
So, I'm going to... Let's see, where should we start?
I'd actually say just verse 12.
Okay. So I'm going to start Judges 3, verse 12. Let's see. Now the sons of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord. This is directly after the previous judge passed away. So verse 11. Actually, I'm going to start at verse 11. Then the land had rest for 40 years, and Othniel the son of Kenaz died. Othniel was Ehud's predecessor.
Yeah, he was the first judge.
Okay, so now the sons of Israel did evil in the eyes of the Lord. So the Lord strengthened Eglon the king of Moab against Israel because they had done evil in the sight of the Lord. And he gathered to himself the sons of Ammon and Amalek. So
the Ammonites and the Amalekites.
The Ammonites and the Amalekites. And he went and defeated Israel, and they possessed the city of palm trees. The sons of Israel served Eglon the king of Moab for 18 years. So that's 18 years between the previous judge and this next judge.
Yep.
When the sons of Israel cried to the Lord raised up a deliverer for them, Ehud the son of Gera, the Benjamite. I like Benjamites. Doing the name proud.
Oh, yeah.
A left-handed man.
A left-handed man.
Left-handed man.
I love the detail.
I know. And this is actually kind of the reason why. So I'll back up a little bit in a second. Also, have you ever heard that thing where the Bible says being left-handed is a sin? It's not even remotely true.
No, I've never heard of that.
The Bible never says that.
What?
Ever once. Here's some perfect proof where it's like not only was he left-handed, but God blessed him for being left-handed in a weird sort of way.
That's weird.
I know. I've heard people use that.
No way.
My sin is like I was left-handed. Well, I think the biggest thing is they're like, oh, the son of my right hand, so the left hand was like inferior or sinful or something like that. That's an extrapolation and a half, though. I
mean, I'm sure somebody would take the another story from Judges where the Benjaminites are well known for being left-handed warriors. Yeah. So I think that's probably why. And the Benjaminites did some pretty awesome. Not so good things.
Well, they did some not so good things, but they also were like the tribe of slingers and highly skilled warriors.
Definitely. So like in Judges, they kind of fall a little bit.
Not because they're left-handed.
Not because they're left-handed.
They people.
Exactly. So like if anybody is out there like, oh yeah, you're a left-handed person, you must be from the Benjaminite tribe. You're an awful person.
And I'm like, well, I am a sinner, but it's not because I'm left-handed.
It's not because I'm left-handed.
I'm not left-handed.
It's just because I suck.
Anyway. Okay. Where was I? 15. So
15.
When the sons of Israel cried to the Lord raised up a deliverer for them, Ehud the son of Gera, the Benjamite, a left-handed man. And the sons of Israel sent tribute by him to Eglon the king of Moab. Ehud made himself a sword which had 2 edges, a cubit in length, about 1.5 feet. And he bound it to his right thigh under his cloak. The reason why, because no one expected to look for his sword on the right side because he was left-handed. They saw his left side because that's where you draw it from. As a right-handed person, you'd reach over, draw it.
Yep.
So he was able to hide a sword on his right side because no one expected to look for it because he was left-handed.
Yeah. Good detail.
So he presented the tribute to Eglon. So they had to pay tribute to the king of Moab every I guess every year or so, I would imagine.
Something like that.
So every period of time they had to present a tribute. So Ehud, being the leader of Israel, figured, I will go present the tribute, as a political thing.
I was strapping my gat on my side.
It's like, he's packing, man. Anyway. It's like the medieval version, or the biblical version of concealed carry.
Yeah. Yep.
Yo, dude, I got my short sword under my tunic.
Got my short sword.
Don't think about that one too hard. Okay.
Verse 17.
Verse 17. He presented the tribute to Eglon, the king of Moab. Now, Eglon was a very fat man.
Very fat man.
Very fat man. Which means, in this day and age, if you were fat, you had issues. Because, it meant that you were probably, stealing food from people.
Mm-hmm.
You were completely
glutton.
sedentary. You're a complete glutton, right?
Yeah, you have everybody do everything for you, which, as a king,
And we're not talking fat. We're talking fat by anyone's standards, and we'll see why in a second.
Yep.
So, it came about when he finished presenting the tribute, he sent away the people who had carried it. But he himself turned back from the idols which were at Gilgal, and he said, "I have a secret message for you, O king." And he said, "Keep silent." And then all who attended him left him. So now it's just the king and Ehud in this room.
Mm-hmm. In the cool the cool roof chamber.
Cool roof chamber. So his leisure place, probably on the top of the palace, where he could look out and see.
Yeah.
So
when I first read that, I thought cool as in awesome, like rad.
The cool upper room.
The cool upper room.
Yo.
And I'm like, oh no, it probably means it's nice and chill up there.
It's nice and chill, and it's not hot because it's hot there.
Yeah.
So, and Ehud says, "I have a message from God for you." And he rose from his street. And stretched out his left hand, took the sword from his right thigh, and thrust it into his belly. This is how you know how fat this dude was. The handle went in after the blade, and the fat closed over the blade, because he didn't draw the sword out of the belly. And the refuse came out. He stabbed him.
In the intestinal
region, and
this very fat man had a lot of my translation says dung.
Oh, and the dung. Oh, yours is even more.
Yeah, mine's more explicit.
I'm trying to think. It's that's a crappy situation. That's all I'm gonna say.
Pun entirely intended. A very crappy situation.
He stabbed him, and he's got his pre-digested food coming out of the wound in his stomach.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah. You wonder. Let's stop and think about this for a moment.
Let's think about this.
So you wonder. Okay, so
this is easily the most metal thing we've talked about.
Yeah. So there's only been one time in my life where I've stabbed something that's remotely close to human flesh, and that was when I stabbed a pig. Pig was dead.
Okay.
Let's be clear. The pig was dead. My uncles were butchering it.
We've all done weird things in high school, so I'm not going to judge you. But
yeah, no, you could judge me for the way I killed the chicken. But with this pig, my uncles were butchering it and all that. But I got to I got to cut out some of its intestines and whatnot. But I also was stupid kid, and I'm like, hey, I want to just stab the pig and all that. And so I stabbed the pig, and it was first there was a pop noise. It was the moment when the sword broke the skin.
Yeah.
It was like a pop kind of a noise. And then it was actually not easy to pull it out.
Oh, yeah, because it fills in the...
Yeah.
But we're talking a guy who stabbed him so deep that, his hand is in the handle, right?
Yeah, it's in the hilt.
So if he's holding the handle, but the handle's inside his belly... And he's his hand, he stuck it all the way into this guy.
Yes.
Hand and all. He really wants to make sure this guy's dead.
So stabbing fat's definitely different from stabbing muscle.
But there's also probably something to be said where this dude was probably so fat, Ehud had no idea if he went deep enough. So he just kind of went as far as he could, and then
1.5 feet worth of blade. Now in the king.
Yeah. And then some, however much for the hilt. Maybe the hilt was included in that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure.
But still, 2 feet big. That is.
Oh, that's a massive man.
It's I'm not a small guy, but I think I'm maybe 12 inches from front to back.
Maybe. Maybe less.
It's
I probably am.
Yeah. You're bigger than
I'm a little bit bigger than you are.
But yeah, it's
But considering you need at least 1.5 feet and the hilt to get that deep.
And I think to get that deep, and it's just disgusting. Let's see. No, it doesn't say.
What were you looking for?
I was trying to remember if it mentioned that like the blade didn't even come out the back. Like he just stuck it in and just left it.
No, it doesn't mention that.
Oh.
But it essentially says he couldn't pull it out. Like the fat surrounded it, and he's like, "All right, I ain't pulling this sucker out. I'm just pulling my hand out."
It's like with the amount of crap these people had to like do.
Yeah.
Or the amount of violence they faced, is that something that even would have phased?
Probably not. Probably not.
It's like where you stab him in the stomach, your hand is like in this guy's guts, and he's literally pooping on you through this hole in his stomach.
He's pooing through the hole in his stomach.
Oh my gosh, that's just disgusting.
Oh,
that is disgusting.
Yeah,
I can't
absolutely.
even imagine something like that now. Like that's so gross.
Gosh, and you imagine. Like, I imagine the king at that point, Eglon, being a very fat man, there's nothing you could do at that point.
No.
It's
like, even if he was, like, in shape, if you get stabbed in the stomach, like, there's...
Oh, yeah. You're debilitated automatically.
Like, so it's like, this guy probably couldn't do anything without his attendants anyway.
Yeah.
Let alone deal with the guy who came in here and just stabbed him.
Yeah.
Eviscerated the guy. Like, Ehud wasn't playing around.
Yeah.
At all.
No, not at all. So, yeah, very crappy situation.
Very crappy situation.
Literally.
Very literally crappy situation.
But yeah. And then
he just bails.
He bails. Yep. He stabs him in the belly, and the dung came out. Then Ehud went out into the porch and closed the doors of the roof chamber behind him and locked them. And the next part's kind of funny, too. It's like when he had gone, the servants came, and when they saw that the doors of the roof chamber were locked, they thought, surely he's relieving himself in the closet of the cool chamber.
It's not
super
wrong. Far from the truth.
It's not wrong. But they don't know that.
They don't know that.
He's relieving himself through an entirely different hole.
Yeah, one that was forcibly made by an angry Israelite.
Forcibly made. So that's hilarious that, there's so much detail in that story in the Bible about this, fat king who's crapping out his stomach.
Yeah.
And the servants come by.
Probably bleeding out, too. Like he's because it's like a thrust to the innards aren't going to kill you right away.
Yeah.
It's
so he's
apparently
bleeding out.
One of like the most painful ways to die because it hurts, and it hurts the entire time you're dying.
Yes.
So he's basically just as like, because if he wanted to be nice, like that almost makes you wonder if Ehud was trying to send a message, right? Because it's like if he just stabbed him in the throat or something like that, he would have been dead.
Really quick. It would have been a quick death. But with this,
it almost was like intended to be painful, or it's like here's a message from God.
Yeah. Also, on another note, when you're stabbed in the stomach like that, it's extremely painful to cry out.
Yeah, because the diaphragm's all damaged, right?
Yeah.
So you can't actually make noise without really injuring yourself.
It's funny when I watch horror movies and someone gets stabbed in the stomach and they're screaming. I'm like, you shouldn't easily be able to do that. It's more authentic. The person that's like, ugh, they can't even say a word because of how painful it is. Like, you're not going to scream at that moment because it's even more painful to do so.
Yeah.
At that moment, your brain's trying to, gather as much relief as it can. So of course it's not going to try and scream.
Right.
So, but so they make the funny, not so aware joke that he's relieving himself. Surely he's relieving himself in the closet of the cool chamber. And they waited till they were embarrassed. Essentially, like, they're embarrassed they're gone so long, they need to kind of check on him, And when he's...
Well, and this is a guy who probably can't function very well without these guys. Because he is so fat.
Yeah.
Like...
Definitely.
So...
but when he still did not open the door of the roof chamber, they took the key and opened them, and there lay their lord dead on the floor. And Ehud escaped while they delayed, and he passed behind the idols and escaped to Sirah. So check this out. Passed behind the idols and escaped. So Ehud was still in the room. Like,
he's chilling.
He's chilling. He's behind the idols, which are probably by the door or something like that. And they come in, and they're like, oh my gosh, the king's dead. And they come running in. Because, again, this is on the roof of a palace. He's not just going to jump off Like, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild style.
He might have. I mean, I don't know how big the palace was. It probably wasn't huge.
It probably wasn't huge,
like
but
3 or 4 stories tops.
But at the same time, if it's, your typical stone tower coming up to, I guess a top porch kind of thing, there's not going to be much for you to come down on.
Right.
So, but it even says that he passed beyond the idols and escaped to Sirah. Okay. So, I don't know. My guess is that he kind of slipped out behind them when the servants came in.
Yeah. I mean, because either that or I'm wondering if he was just waiting to see if they found him, Yeah. Because this entire thing is designed to be sending Moab a message, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll find out later, like, what he was actually doing was goading them to war, basically. So, because it came about when he arrived that he blew the trumpet in the hill country of Ephraim, and the sons of Israel went down with him from the hill country, and he was in front of them. He said, "Pursue them, for the Lord has given your enemies, the Moabites, into your hand." So they went down after him and seized the fords of the Jordan opposite Moab. So they're living on the other side of the river from Moab, and Moab is going to come across, because they're pissed now, so they muster their forces. They come out and chase this guy, because he just murdered their king. And now Israel... They've taken a military strategically position on the ford of a river. So on the ford of a river, they can't get horses. Like, they have to be able to use the ford, which is maybe 20, 30, 40 feet wide. So they basically are condensing their army to only allow 10, 20 people across at a time. So that means it's like a 300 situation. So the Israelites can literally just sit there on the opposite bank and just kill the Moabites as they come across, because they can't do anything, because they can't cross the river anywhere else. So Ehud basically goes, pokes the dragon in the face, or more in the stomach, I guess. Then he runs and he goes, "Okay, guys, they're coming after me. Let's go. The Lord has delivered them into our hands." And then they set up in a really militarily sound position anyway. So the Moab come across, they're enraged. They probably just start coming across and basically just coming to their deaths. Essentially.
Pretty much.
And they struck down at that time about 10,000 Moabites. So this turned into a huge pitched battle. Like 10,000 people is a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot of people.
All robust and valiant men. So all of these are like, healthy, trained fighting men.
Men of war.
Yeah, and no one escaped. So Moab was subdued that day under the hand of Israel, and the land was undisturbed for 80 years.
So then we had 80 years of peace.
Yeah.
And then they screwed up again, and we'll get to that next time.
Then we get to the next guy, Shamgar, the son of Anath. This is so funny. Because after him, the next judge is one verse. I'm just going to read this anyway, because this is awesome.
Do it.
After him came Shamgar, the son of Anath, who struck down 600 Philistines with an ox goad. Yeah. That's like the best KD I've ever seen on the planet. Using a level 1 weapon.
Approaching Ganon's castle with a tree branch.
Have you ever seen the glitch where you can just hold the tree branch up and run around under him and it'll do infinite damage?
Yeah. I know those speedrunners, man. They impress me.
I know. Well, I think right now the speed run for Breath of the Wild is down to 8 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, insane.
I have no idea how.
Just clipping into walls and...
Well, they aren't clipping into walls. They're cheating the physics engine somehow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway. Yeah, so that's Ehud. There's not really this one's a little different. There's not really... We're not trying to teach you anything.
No,
we just have this badass story from the Bible, and we're just like, dude, listen to this badass story from the Bible.
And that's kind of how I think some of these judges are going to be. I think the only one we're really going to glean... The only two, I want to say, that we're probably going to glean some kind of message from is Gideon and Samson.
Yeah.
Those are the two that are common stories for, faith Sunday school kids and all that.
Yeah, this one is not a Sunday school
This one's not a Sunday school. You will never hear this in Sunday school, Yeah.
I thought the Bible was about peace and love and kindness. No.
Yeah.
No.
Definitely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, anyway, welcome to thank you for listening to our story.
Yeah.
We hope you liked it. It was a good story.
It's a very good story.
And if you're interested, read more Judges.
Yes.
Judges is messed up, and it's kind of fun to read through it every once in a while. It's going to go, I am so glad we don't live in that world anymore.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So we'll be hanging out in the Book of Judges for a little bit. So if you're interested,
there's a lot of good stuff here. So.
Yep. So more episodes to come in the Book of Judges. Read ahead if you kind of want to get a little bit, or don't.
Yeah.
This will be fun anyway.
Anyway, cool. I'm Ben.
I'm Levi.
And this has been The Bible is Metal, because it most definitely is. Anyway, see you guys.
Bye.